Today we will discuss about fertilization in detail, how fertilization occurs, fertilization in human being. So for that, we should wait for 1 or 2 minutes so that more students could come. Fertilization in human. What are the things necessary for fertilization? Fertilization means fusion of male and female gametes. The male gamete is sperm and the female gamete is ovum. So, maturation of male gametes and female gametes, then their fusion. And for fusion, what is required? Arrival of sperm in the female reproductive part where ovum is present. So, what is the position of ovum or secondary oocyte? It is present in fallopian tube. The secondary oocyte is surrounded by a layer made up of glycoproteins, is known as zona pellucida. So, this is surrounded by a layer called zona pellucida. And the zona pellucida is surrounded by several layers of cells known as corona radiata. So, there are several layers of cells around which are called corona radiata. Several layers are present. Now, this is the position of ovum. It is present in fallopian tube. Now, which has to come, a sperm has to come in fallopian. And how does the sperm look like? The sperm has a head and then there is a small neck surrounded by which leads into a middle base. And this middle base leads into a tail piece. Now, it contains nucleus in which genetic material is present. And the tip is as a package which is called acrosome. This is acro. This is nucleus xanthine. And the neck region contains centriole. Two centrioles are present in the neck region. And this middle piece has 70 to 100 mitochondria, which provide energy to the sperm. So, what does it contain? It contains mitochondria, and these mitochondria are fused to one another. They are 70 to 100 in number, and they provide energy to the sperm. So, basically, a sperm has 1, 2, 3, 4 regions. What are the regions? These regions are head region, neck region, middle piece, and the tail. So, for fertilization, what are the steps? So, the first step is incopulation or mating. Mating releases the sperm into vagina, and there when the semen is released into the vagina, almost 25% of the sperms get destroyed in the acidic acidity of the vagina. Then there is a term called capacitation. Capacitation means activation of the sperm in vagina. There are several factors present in the vagina which activates the sperm by removing cholesterol vesicles present in the sperm. Sperm heads are covered by cholesterol. So the cholesterols are destroyed, and by this process, the sperm becomes active. The activation of the sperm in vagina is called capacitation. Then the upward movement, once the capacitation occurs, the tail, which has undulating movement earlier, starts whiplash-like movement and upward. So, a sperm generally takes 5 to 6 hours. Yes, नहीं नहीं चल रहा. You are here. हेलो शिखा, आपको आवाज आ रही है?
यस सर.
आप फिर से कनेक्ट
Yes, sir.
नहीं, ठीक है. नहीं अब आया, अब रिक्वेस्ट आया, ठीक है, अब जुड़ गए, अब जुड़ गए स्नेहिल। फिर से तुम चले गए, फिर से रिक्वेस्ट भेजो। हाँ आ गए, ओके। So the first thing in the process of fertilization is what? Mating. Mating is the process. The second thing is what happens in the vagina? Capacitation. Capacitation means activation of a sperm. The tail starts whiplash-like movement. The cholesterol vesicles present in semen get destroyed. The head covered by cholesterol get washed or removed, and this is called capacitation. That means activation of the sperm. So after mating, the second step is capacitation. Capacitation. Then this entire uterus have aquatic medium, and in that aquatic medium, the sperm starts upward movement, and it takes 5 to 6 hours for the sperms to reach the fallopian tube. Generally, they progress 1.5 millimeter to 2 millimeter in 1 minute. Okay, so they take almost 6 hours to reach fallopian tube. So in uterus, the number gets half. The number gets half because the half of the sperm moves towards another fallopian tube. The fallopian tube will pair. So as the sperm enters into the fallopian tube, there are cells which have cilia. The ciliary movement also helps the sperm to move towards ovum. And this is the condition of growth. What happens first? The first thing is acrosomal reaction. Acrosomal, during the fertilization, the steps are, the first step will be acrosomal reaction. What is acrosomal reaction? The sperm is very, very small in comparison to secondary oocyte. The state in which this secondary oocyte is, it has entered in meiotic division, and first meiotic division, meiosis first is completed, and it rests in or gets seized in meiosis 2, because the factors required for the functions of meiosis 2 is absent, and that will remain absent till the genetic material of a sperm passes into the cytoplasm of secondary oocyte. So the secondary oocyte has entered in the process of meiosis, but ceased in meiosis 2 due to the absence of factor which is necessary for meiosis 2, and that will start only when the nucleus, including nucleus, will enter inside the secondary oocyte or in the cytoplasm of secondary oocyte. The sperm is very, very small in comparison to secondary oocyte. I think it is 100 times smaller. Male gamete is 100 times smaller than the female gamete. When the sperm comes in contact of corona radiata, then the acrosome releases hyaluronic acid. Hyaluronic acid. It contains, acrosome contains hyaluronic acid, or we can say hyaluronidase, which breaks the cementing material of corona. What does it do? It releases hyaluronidase, derivative of hyaluronic acid. And what does it do? Breaks the cementing material. Breaks the cementing material. And make passes towards what? Towards the zona pellucida. Hyaluronidase breaks the cementing material of corona radiata cells. Corona radiata cells. So, the first stage of fertilization is acrosomal reaction. Then the sperm arrives to zona pellucida layer, and here it releases enzymes which powers into pellucida, and they degrade the place where acrosome meets zona pellucida. Zona pellucida gives a tree-like appearances. They are made up of several chains of glycoproteins, and they have a tree-like appearances here. So when the acrosome releases the hormone lysine, it degrades the zona pellucida layer. At the same time, the several vesicles releases from the sperm, and an outward epitome is created in the plasma membrane of secondary oocytes. So the second reaction is called zona reaction. Zona reactions. So zona pellucida contains several entity or chemical which can bind with the sperm. So There are several chemicals present as a receptor in zona pellucida layer which binds with a sperm. And as the sperm binds with the zona pellucida layer, it releases chemicals which uh, can lysis, which can cause lysis to the zona pellucida. Here, one more interesting thing is that सबसे interesting thing कि यहाँ पे जो proteins or enzymes which are present on zona pellucida, which is helpful in binding, is called fertilizing, and the anti-protein and enzymes which are present on the surface of the sperm is called anti-fertilizer. So fertilizing and anti-fertilizing binds with one another under the zonal unit. Fertilizing and anti-fertilizing and anti-fertilizing binds with one another. Binds with one another. At the same time, when the sperm and zona pellucida binds with one another, then the acrosomal vesicle